Hello, this is Cornel Burso. I'm a 7-dan European player, and in this video we'll go over a great game between Go Seigen and Kitani Minoru. I've decided to start a new series of videos where I'm going to review some of the most famous games between top Japanese players, and further on we can continue with the Korean and Chinese players, and later on get to the modern style, of course. But I think it's important to see a little bit how they used to play 100 years ago, for example, and then compare with the new style of play implemented by the AI in the last few years. So I chose this game because it's quite exciting. First of all, they're going to have like three avalanche Josekis. Two times it was played by white and once by black. Then there will be some killing happening in the game during the middle game, and later on in the end game we will see a big trade of Furikavari, a territory exchange. And this game, it's pretty intense, and in the same time we have two of the players who are considered greatest in the history of Go. We have Go Seigen, who was for sure the greatest player of the 20th century with his innovative style, especially in Fuseki. He was the developer of the Shin Fuseki, the new opening strategy. Also, we have Kitani Minoru, who is the most prolific Go teacher. His dojo produced around 70 professional players, and most of them dominated the Go scene in Japan from the mid-50s till late 90s. Here we can enumerate some of the players like Chochi-kun, Kato Masao, Takemiya Masaki, Ishida Yoshio, and Kobayashi Koichi. They were all title holders and really prominent for the Japanese Go. So I guess you will enjoy this video, I hope. And without further ado, let's get started. So we have black playing a Komoku in the top right corner, followed by another Komoku in the lower right corner, and then white attacks right away. And here black goes for the so-called Shusaku opening. This was really famous in the Edo period. Shusaku was considered invincible, especially when playing black. And Go Seigen, it's one of the players who really mastered this opening, and he used to play it a lot in tournaments in the mid-50s. Now white is attacking each corner, so he's playing a pretty aggressive style. That's probably also because there is no komi in this particular game. Nowadays you would often see white blocking on the side instead of going for the avalanche Joseki, because the Josekis are much more simple when this kind of follow-up happens. Now in this particular case, instead of finishing the Joseki at R10, white can go for a pincer first, or a double approach, double kakari in the top right corner, and then extend back to finish the Joseki. So this would be a better flow for white on the right side. This is also a variation suggested by AI. But white had a plan to go for the avalanche Joseki, which was really popular back then. So this game was played April 30, 1958, already 62 years ago. And well, even if we look at the game played so long ago, it's still quite recent if we consider that the game of Go is played for about 4,000 years. So normally here, the most common variation nowadays would be to play Atari on the second line, because it prevents black building a large corner, and then simply take the tiger mount to make a strong formation on the outside. But white is playing a bit more active instead. Now in this case, it's pretty big for black to simply descend and secure the corner. But if black is playing like this, probably Go Seigen felt this is tends to be passive, so white can put pressure here next in center, and then continue in the lower left corner. to play pretty active. It's also big for white to take the shibari in the top left corner. So black decided to attach under the high approach, which is something we don't see nowadays so much. I mean, this kind of kakari. Recently, it's very common to play the low approach a lot. So one atari could be played and then immediately approach the corner. Then if black responds around with Kosumi or Keima, white can extend back and form sort of a mini Chinese configuration on the bottom side. Anyway, taking the corner, it's quite natural. Locally, if white simply blocks and pulls back, this Joseki is considered slightly better for black for the points in the corner. Also, white can still play the Atari and then extend back to combine both the lower light avalanche Joseki with the basic Joseki on the left side. But in this game, we see white was really well prepared with the avalanche Joseki, so he continued along. Now here black can think about playing the Hane. This will lead to the small avalanche follow-up. And one of the most basic patterns here is this one. In this case, white gets the bottom area and black has a lot of potential on the left side, so black will continue attacking the top left corner to expand his moyo in this direction, while white has to go for the moyo on the bottom area. So this would be the basic small avalanche Joseki. But in the actual game, black stretch one more and they are going to play the large avalanche. And the variation they played here is one that used to be considered the standard pattern back in the day. And in this case, black played the inner turn, which is one of the moves that Go Seigen developed in this particular Joseki. But white was already prepared. They were studying this pattern from a different title match. Go Seigen played against Takagawa Shukaku, if I'm not mistaken. I think Takagawa is also the author of a book on Moyo strategy or frameworks. It's either the Sun Essay or how to reduce territorial frameworks, if I recall. Well, last time I read those books was like 26 years ago. So I might be wrong, but yeah, these names pop up. So yeah, they continue the classic avalanche Joseki with all these forcing moves. And here usually in the modern Go, we see white going out with Nobi, and after black pushes along, then white plays the Atari and hits the vital point. This would be a more common follow-up of the avalanche. But here, white played the Atari right away. I wonder if they were aware of this follow-up where white can trade the lower side for going on the left side. This is also one of the basic avalanche Joseki. But white it's interested to connect his bottom stones, the P3 group. So that's why Atari here first. Now black goes out, preventing being captured. If black plays other moves here, for example, Atari on the left side, white can just Atari and capture the 3 stones in a net. Even if the ladder is good here, it's superior to play the net. Because if white starts a ladder, black can play a ladder breaker on the right side. So therefore, it's urgent for black to go out. Now black is threatening the bottom stones, I mean the E4 group, so white has to escape as well. That's why white is going in the middle of the 3 stones, that's the vital point. Black comes out too, threatening to capture those stones. So if white here plays away or jumps, for example, like this, without paying attention, black can use a Tsuji to capture the stones. This is the famous crane nest capture. So white plays a bamboo connection to prevent that happening. Now black continues with the jump, and in this case we see white playing in the middle, because this move it's interrelated with the 3 stones on the right side. No, normally the basic follow-up, if we disregard what happens in the lower right corner, white usually plays a jump at m3 or Kema l4, then black comes out, white jumps along, black extends on the side, white jumps in the middle to secure his group, and black jumps again. So this would be the standard avalanche Joseki, only regarding this part of the board. But because white already has these 3 stones in the lower right, white can think of a more aggressive way to get into the center and attack the J5 group on the way out. So black takes this spot, putting some pressure on the J3 group in order to reinforce his stones in the middle, then the attach to go out. Usually when you're in danger, you have to run into the middle. That's a good principle to follow. So here, these moves in the last sequence are pretty elaborated by both players, and black is looking for a vital point. This exchange is threatening to cut white in the middle, so white needs to protect, and the way he protects, it's forced to make an empty triangle, so a little bit uncomfortable. Now black goes out, white is making I shape and goes out as well, and black simply extends. Now black could consider to play the Hane at A before going out, in order to prevent white's Atari at B, which forces the connection at C. So if black plays the Hane here and white simply extends, or white plays Atari, black connects, white connects, then black goes out. Now this is a bit more active defense for black. Otherwise, white can get a chance to play Atari at L5 pretty soon. So white decided to push first to keep black separated. This is a good exchange too. These forcing moves help white settle the shape on the left side. But before playing this Keima, white should really consider the Atari to force black connect on J6 eventually. The difference is that later on, when black is setting up a big moe on the right side, it's much easier for white to fight in that area compared to the actual game. We will see in a few moves. So white lost this opportunity to fix his shape, but overall this result feels quite okay for white. The AI thinks that at this stage white is leading by 65 to 35%, but these numbers can change later on. So white has to come back and protect against the cuts here. Otherwise, if white just goes for a big point, black is happy to use this cut. There are 2 ways to continue. If white plays Atari like this, black will sacrifice 1 stone and catch the bottom group. And if white goes down, black has the ladder, so now white is forced to connect on the second line, which is really painful. So white protects against the cuts, and black is forcing white into an over-concentrated formation, sacrificing 1 stone. Also, this creates the agi of playing Atari and capture 2 stones in the middle later on. but right now black is playing away. It's important to play in the most open areas, especially in the early stage of the game. So playing this pincer, it's a pretty normal move. And after white played the Kosumi, which was probably the first choice back in the day against the high and far pincer, they stopped the game for the first day. This is a 2 days game, quite an important title match. Now, usually nowadays, we often see the 4C move, the Keima, which puts pressure on the right side. And one of the basic Josekis would be push and cut, attach, extend, Nobi, black takes the right side, white develops the top. So this is like a trade Joseki. Also, there are other complicated variations with the push and cut, but I guess you can check them out with the AI anytime. So they play the Kosumi, and here black is trying to expand his right side as big as he can. Normally, the classic move is to play Keima or Ogema, and after white slice to make a base, black can just play away. I think black didn't like the idea of playing Keima and extend again on the right side, because even if he beats the right side, it's pretty much his only solid territory. And if you look all over the board, white builds a big left side, top and bottom, so maybe he didn't feel confident just building one big area. So he's trying to get more out of it. I mean, maximize the profit is possible. This feels heavy, but white doesn't have a base yet, so black still keeps the pressure on the group like that. And now black decided to play away, because maybe it's still difficult to continue the attack directly, so he's going for a big point. Well, Go Seigen was really famous for being very sharp and having a very good judgment on the whole board situation. So he knows when to switch from a fight to a big point. Something that we often see in Q players game, that they completely miss the big picture, so they get too involved in the local fight and don't look up for other options elsewhere on the board. So this is the third time we see the Avalanche Joseki coming up, but here is just a very simple variation. Now black comes back to attack the top right group. So playing the moves on the left side is just to reinforce a little bit the formation on the middle of the board to continue attacking. So white grabs the territory here, going down. And now black can put more pressure on the top group. So this way, black is going to develop a very large moe on the right side and towards the middle of the board. So white plays a peep. And of course, black is reluctant to defend with a connection here, because this formation, also called the B2 bomber, it's quite heavy and not great to get. So here black decides to switch to the right side and develop the moe at maximum. If you look here, it's huge. I mean, if black managed to enclose all that area, it's going to be a pretty big win. So first, white is putting some pressure in the top. Then a clamp Tesuji, quite nice. And black decides to sacrifice those stones for now, because he's still interested to build a big right side. Now here, white couldn't delay the invasion too much. I mean, if white simply plays the Nobi, and probably black will extend once, not to give up all that top left without contesting it a little bit. The right side, it's too big. Probably black will add another move here just to secure it. So it was about time to invade. Well, here usually white can think of an invasion point like R11 because it creates MI between extending, oops, to the top or to the bottom. But maybe white wasn't that confident that he can live inside just playing like that. So the way he invades here, it's kind of related to the bottom stones. Anyway, it's a do or die invasion for Kitani Minoru in this game. And next move, it's a pretty nice Tetsuji. Usually in a crowded area you want to try this kind of attach moves or tsuke to make room for ice. So here black delivers the strongest attack by taking away the base from the second line, and white is trying to fight back. Now in this case black played a little greedy according to Go Seigen commentary. The next move was S14, trying to kill everything, but he said after the game that it was better to play the key point, the peep, even if white can try some magic in the corner. Playing like this, it's good enough for black. But he tried to kill everything, and of course that doesn't always happen according to the plan. So white is playing some light moves here, looking for a sabaki. Also, these last moves are related to the other stones on the bottom. And then he found this brilliant move to punish the S14 and make a I shape inside the moyo. This was the Tetsuji that black probably missed in the heat of the fighting. And after black turns here, even if white can make I shape inside the moyo, black has a follow up in the top, because now he can threaten the snapback that will happen soon. Yeah, this one. With this move, black can escape by either taking the 3 stones or capturing the 1 stone. So at this point, black decided to fight somewhere else. But white played the Tetsuji in the top right corner, and in fact he should still reinforce the side group by going Atari and hit the vital point, or even here. So now the game would be slightly favorable for white. So in this position, black decided to take away the eyes and go for the kill again. Now white is offering a trade, and black reinforced the right side. So this time it's a bit difficult for white to escape. Well, white captured the top, so all of a sudden he's got a huge potential in this area. And black protects. With this move, black can extract his stone, the Q12, and once he connects, there are no eyes on the right side. And anyway, if white would play here, black can still force the eye by playing Atari and then Atari like this. So there is no eye around Q11 or Q12. So white still tries to live inside, at least to create some RG for later. But black's reading was pretty deep and accurate, and therefore no way to live inside for now. So now white is trying to develop the top left and the middle, but after black is sticking his head out here, it's really difficult for white. At this point black is leading in the game, but later on there will still be a very exciting trade that doesn't really affect the outcome of the game, because in the trade they get pretty much the same amount of points, but it makes the game more spectacular for sure. So let's move on a little bit with the actual game. Now here white cuts everything, trying to get back into the lead, but it wasn't that easy to kill the middle or all the top left area, because there's too much agi on the left side. For example, if white plays a double up, to prevent the squeeze play in the middle, black can start the sequence by playing Atari here and driving white to the second line, then turning the corner. And now if white comes out or just cuts, black will capture the stones on the left side and leave in the top left, which is good enough. So it's really impossible for white to catch all the stones in the top area. So black makes a nice shape here. This move is threatening to capture the 3 stones in the top. So for example, if white turns and goes for the middle, black can also turn and just capture the stones to leave in the top left corner. So now white has to protect. Then black can use the squeeze. This is the shibori technique, and it feels really painful for white. If white simply connects, black will play the hanging connection and everything will leave. So now when this move, there are 2 eyes like this or like this. So black managed to escape with the whole dragon. Therefore, white has to cut with fighting spirit. Black plays a throw-in. If white captures 1 stone, this is a snapback, so black can take everything back. White has to take the other stone and then protect again. If white connects here, black will capture all the stones. That would be a disaster. So now black escaped with a big part of the group, so he still breaks the top moyo. Therefore, he can still keep the advantage by killing all those stones on the right side. Now here black is playing a safe move. He doesn't want to risk. There was some agi in that area, and he's giving up a few points because it's still leading by a lot. And after playing a few small endgame moves, we have another interesting fight coming up. So they're approaching the final stage of the game, and in this position white has to cut, because giving up a few more points is not acceptable when you're behind. So he cuts and black decides to play the ko. This is the kind of ko that doesn't affect black so much, losing a few extra points here. And in this ko fight, white has ko threats to survive to live on the right side, and black accepts the trade because capturing those stones in the middle, I mean this group, and also saving the black group will be something over 50 points for black, and giving back the right side, it's probably pretty much the same. I didn't count exactly, but it feels like it. So anyway, it just makes the game more spectacular to finish it like this. And black also got some side territory, giving up the group, I mean giving back the group on the side. So how many white stones were rescued here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 36 points, plus white killed 4 stones, that's 8. So 44, 45, 46, plus the surrounding territory. So yeah, around 50 points plus. And on the left side, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 black stones involved. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 27 plus, that's 54, around 60 points here. And also black got back the stones in the top right. Yeah, so this trade was still towards black advantage. Hard to count those monsters exchanges, especially in an actual game under time pressure. And this was it. Now there are no more surprises happening, just fighting the last score and count the board. And in the end, Black won the game by 10 points and became the champion of the first Japanese strongest player series. I hope you enjoyed this game. In case you did and learned something, don't hesitate to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments down below for what to do in the next videos. Anyway, I'm going to have a series of Japanese professional games for the upcoming videos, and then we'll see what comes next. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.